The end came not with a final charge, but with silence. By early April 1865, the Confederate Army was barely holding together. Robert E. Lee and his men, once the pride of the South, were starving, surrounded, and on the run. Every mile west from Richmond, Union troops pressed closer. Every bridge burned, every supply cut. Lee still hoped to reach North Carolina and join forces with General Johnston, but by the time he reached Appomattox Court House, it was too late. Grant's army was already there, blocking his path. On the morning of April 9th, 1865, Lee looked across the small Virginia village. His officers urged him to fight on, to escape into the mountains, to wage guerrilla war. But Lee refused. He had seen enough death. Then there is nothing left me, he said, but to go and see General Grant, and I would rather die 1,000 deaths. That afternoon, in a modest brick home belonging to Wilmer McLean, two men met to end a nation's greatest tragedy. Lee arrived first, immaculate in a fresh gray uniform, his sword polished, his dignity unbroken. Grant entered soon after, muddy boots, rumpled coat, exhausted from the march. They spoke quietly, almost awkwardly. For a long moment there was only small talk, about old times in Mexico, about the years before the storm. Then Grant opened his notebook and wrote the terms of surrender. The Confederate soldiers would lay down their arms. They would be free to return home, undisturbed, so long as they obeyed the laws of the land. Lee read the document in silence, then nodded. "This will have a very happy effect on my army," he said. As he left the house, Union soldiers stood in respectful silence. No one cheered. Even in victory, it did not feel like triumph, only relief. The next morning, Lee's men stacked their rifles, folded their flags, and began the long walk home. Union soldiers watched, some in tears. One general ordered his men to salute. "They are our countrymen again," he said. The Civil War was over. More than 600,000 Americans had died, more than in all of the nation's wars before and since combined. But in that quiet Virginia town, two men had chosen mercy over revenge, and the chance of a future over the comfort of vengeance. At Appomattox, the United States of America began to heal. Not perfectly, not immediately, but undeniably, the war that had torn a nation apart had finally ended. In peace,